looks very nice. Like, it looks very nice. Like, I'm honestly surprised on how well this thing came out. What's up, you guys? I just came back from the paint store and I finally got all my stuff. I got my primer, I got my color match paint, I got that 2K clear, and then I also bought a mask. I got some wax and grease remover. I have some microfiber towels, some sandpaper, and gloves. So what I'm gonna do first is I'm actually gonna put on some gloves and I'm gonna get the wax and grease remover, and I'm actually just gonna clean the surface of all this. As you guys can see, there's like some handprints here, and your hands leave like an oil. So that wax and grease remover is to remove everything, and then once we remove everything, we're gonna be ready to put on our primer. So when I put on my primer, I'm going to shake this up for like 3 minutes, and I'll put on my mask, because you do not want any of this stuff to go into your lungs. So you're better off protecting your lungs, you know, keep yourself safe. So I'm going to be doing that. So I'm going to get all this stuff prepped, and yeah guys, I'll bring you guys along with me. Alright guys, so I'm going to open up this wax and grease remover, and then I'm going to get my clean microfiber towel, and then I'm just going to pour some on here, and then we're just gonna be cleaning everything. So you know, we want to get rid of all the man, I can't even talk. So make sure you get everything, and then make sure when you guys do this process, make sure to wear gloves, because if you do it barehanded, if you do this like with your bare hands, you're gonna go be touching other spots, and that's not good, because your hands have oil, and we don't want that. They would defeat the whole purpose of doing this process. So we're just gonna let this air dry, let it all dry up, and then after that, I'm gonna hit it with a tack cloth. I was able to get a tack cloth at like O'Reilly's. I even saw some at the dollar store, but I'm gonna go open up a tack cloth and then just go over it just one more time, just for an extra step, and then we're gonna be good. We're gonna be ready for primer. So I'm gonna let this dry up, and then I'll get you guys with an update. Alright guys, so it's pretty much finished drying. It's still a little bit wet right here, but it evaporated fairly quickly, and the reason why I want to go over it with tack cloth is because there's like little debris in here, and I want to do is just basically take off all the debris. That way we have a clean and nice surface. So I'm just going over it just to clean anything off that's left in here, making sure to get everything, the insides, everything. So you see guys, even though we cleaned it with the wax and grease remover, the tack cloth still got a little bit of more stuff off. So preparation is key when you're painting things. So now that we have everything cleaned up, we're gonna move on to our primer, and I'm gonna be shaking this up for like about 3 minutes. I actually got this attachment at Walmart. I'm gonna see if it works, if it works well, because I know some people just like to, you know, just spray it on like that. Other people like using this grip. I'm just gonna try out this grip and see how it works, and then if I like it, I'll keep it on. If not, I'll just toss it out. So I'm gonna be doing this. I'm gonna get this thing ready, and then I'll show you guys what to do next. Alright guys, I have my mask on, so if my voice sounds a little different, it's because I have the respirator on. So I shook this up for about 2 minutes. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm finally gonna lay the first coat of clear. So here goes nothing guys. So what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna hit the edges that I wouldn't normally hit first. So I'm gonna start with the bottom, and then, you know, get the edges. So once I hit the edges, we can finally start hitting Alright guys, so that's gonna be my first coat. I'm gonna let this dry for about 15 minutes, and then after this thing dries for 15 minutes, we're gonna head on and do our second coat. And the second coat is gonna be a little bit more wet than this one. So once this dries up, I'm gonna hit it with the second coat, and I'll bring you guys along. So just give me a few minutes for this to dry up, and we'll see what happens, guys. So far it's looking pretty good, and yeah guys, I'm excited for this. So we'll see what happens, guys. It's been about 10 minutes, and now I'm actually gonna start sanding. I'm gonna add the second coat now. So here goes nothing, boys. So just like the first time, I get the edges that I wouldn't normally hit. So here goes. Alright guys, so I'm gonna let this dry up, and then once it finishes drying up, I'm gonna hit it with some sandpaper just to make sure everything's all nice and smooth. So we're gonna let this dry. Guys, so this thing finished drying up. So before I add the base coat, I'm gonna go over it one more time with the tack cloth, get all the little debris out, and that way we can have a nice and clean surface, so the paint will lay down nice and easy. So we're all ready to start painting now. This is my base coat. I actually got this to color match the car. I went to a paint shop, and they were able to match the color. All I had to do was give them my color code of my car, and they matched it. So hopefully this thing will match the car, because I know sometimes it's a hit or miss. But regardless, I wanted to do this myself so I could save some money, and so I could also learn. So this is my very first time doing this, so we'll see how it comes out. If it comes out nice and sweet, and if it doesn't, well, at least I gave it a shot. So here you go, guys. This is going to be the first base coat. So just like I did with the primer, I'm going to hit the areas that I won't normally pay too much attention to. Alright, so I got my edges. Now I'm gonna go on the actual main part of the fender. And when you're painting, you want to do a 50% overlap. So that's what I'm gonna try to do. Alright guys, So this is the first coat of the actual car color. Now I'm gonna let this dry up for about 5 to 10 minutes, and then once that dries up for 5 to 10 minutes, I'm gonna add the other coat. And then the other coat, it's gonna be a little bit more heavier than the first coat. So this is just like a little light coat just to cover some things, and then the second coat I'm gonna go at it a bit harder. So far it looks, I honestly don't know but hopefully as this thing dries it'll look more similar to the car's color. As you guys can see, this is the car's color, and it's dirty, you know, I haven't moved it since I crashed it, but hopefully once it fully dries out and we add the second coat, it'll be a lot more better. As you guys can see, this is the color they gave me. So it's pretty similar to it. So once this thing finishes drying up, I'm gonna add the second coat, and then hopefully we'll be all set. So yeah guys, I'll get you guys with a little update in just a few minutes. Alright, so it finally dried up, and now I'm gonna give it with the wet coat. So this wet coat is gonna be a lot more heavier than the first coat, and hopefully that wet coat's gonna help it out pop out a lot more. So here we go guys. So I pretty much painted this thing really nice, and I'm gonna let it dry for a bit more. When I was going through it, I noticed that some of the cans that I was using wasn't really that great. Like it was a little splotchy, so what I ended up doing was I finished the whole can, and then I ended up getting a newer one. I got a newer one of this, and when I used it, it was a lot better, and it gave me a lot better result. As you guys can see here, I had a little bit of runs with the primer. I tried sanding it down as much as I could, but unfortunately it was no luck. But now I'm gonna let this fully dry, and then once it dries up, we're gonna hit it with this 2K clear, and then hopefully after that we'll be all set. And here, it's dry enough to where I could pick it up. Let's see. Yeah, it's dry enough so where I can pick it up. So I'm gonna compare it to the paint over here, and look at that guys, look at that, it matches pretty well. So I'm gonna finish, we'll let this dry for a bit longer, and then once that's finished drying up, we're gonna hit it with that clear. Alright guys, as you guys can see, I already have both of the fenders painted. Now it's time to put on the clear coat. So once this thing fully dries out, we're gonna go over it once more with the tack cloth, and then once that's done, we're gonna hit this with this bad boy. But to use this, all you have to do is basically just get this little red thing here, and we're gonna put it in here. So once we do that, basically just hit it so the little thing could break. There you go, it broke loose. And all you have to do is basically, once you break this loose, is just shake it, because in here is a catalyst, and it makes it so it has a hardness, so it dries quicker, and it's basically just like a professional one would use. So yeah guys, so once it's finished drying up, I'm gonna hit it with the clear coat, and then hopefully it will look a lot nicer. So yeah guys, so I'll hit you guys with a little update in just a few minutes. Alright guys, so I'm now back with my trusty tack cloth, and before we hit it with the clear, I'm just gonna make sure it's free of debris. So now that it's debris free, we're gonna finally add that clear coat to it. Man, so this is part of the paint. I think I might actually have to give it one more spray just so it could be uniform. So just give me a second to fix that, because if not, that's gonna show through the clear, and we're gonna go through all this work for nothing. So just let me fix this real quick. I'll get you guys with an update. Alright, so this is my second coat of clear. As you guys can tell, it looks pretty nice and clean. I'm gonna give it with one more coat, and that's gonna be the very last coat. I already did the other one, and look guys, look how nice this thing looks. Like, man guys, it looks a lot better in person. I know in cameras it probably looks like it looks bad, but guys, like, this thing looks very nice. Like, it looks very, very nice. Like, I'm honestly surprised on how well this thing came out. I mean, don't get me wrong, there is a little bit of orange peel when you look at it at a certain angle, but that's why I'm gonna wet sand it in the future. But still guys, for me to do this on my house, and for me being the very first time that I'm doing this, I'm very proud about myself, because this thing came out nice. It looks really, really nice. So what I'm gonna do, I'm actually just gonna let this dry in the sun, and once that finishes drying up, we're gonna bolt it on to the car. I'm gonna let it dry for about an hour, and thankfully today it's not that windy. But man guys, I'm honestly really surprised on how this thing came out. And like I said guys, this is the fender that had that what's it called, that had the primer, so you could still see the little lines a little bit. But man guys, I mean, if I would have gone to a professional to do this, they would have charged me a whole lot of more money than what I'm doing here. Like, I was asking around, and somebody quoted me, I think it was like $1,000 just for the two fenders. So I mean, honestly, I did this with about maybe like $100 with all the materials and everything. So I'm really happy how this thing came out. Yeah guys, so I'm gonna let this dry up, and then I'll get you guys with an update. And for now, I guess I'll give it the very last coat for this one, and this one's going to be a very heavy coat, so make sure to wear a respirator. And here it goes. That is it guys, this is the last can, and I was actually able to do two of the fenders with one of these. For the fenders for the paint, I had to bust out. I basically did one for each fender, which was very bad, because so what ended up happening is that the nozzle sucked, so I had to take this nozzle and clean it out and use it from the primer. So I am going to be doing my bumper. So once I get the bumper stuff done, I'm going to go ahead and buy more paint. But I mean, the paint, it's $30 a can. So this was 60. It was like $90 for paint. But I'm gonna go back and get another can of paint for the bumper, because this one still has some, don't get me wrong. Oh wait, which one is it? This one still has a bit, maybe like half, but I know that's not going to be enough for the bumper. So I'm gonna go back to that paint shop and get more for the bumper. But man, guys, I'm gonna let this dry, and man, guys, this thing looks very, very beautiful. So yeah, guys, I mean, this is gonna be it for this video. I'm probably just gonna show me bolting it up to the car, but this is it for today. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and thank you guys for watching.